Just like that. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Father's Talks. I am your host, Mike D. Today, I have a very special guest, Miss Kim Engelhardt, fitness trainer, model, mom, full-time coach, fitness model, not just a model. But Kim, welcome to the show. I am so happy to have you. Very excited about today.
Thank you. Thanks for asking me to be on your show.
Listen, we've been friends for 4 years now?
At least, yeah. Yeah, 4
Yeah,
years.
yeah. Trenton just graduated. Well, your boy's getting ready to this year. Yeah, it's been 4 years.
Yeah.
That's crazy. How time flies.
Randomly on a
So
football field.
yeah, right.
I don't
So
even know how. I don't remember.
yeah, I think we started we met at like one of the parent meetings, or like maybe we saw each other at the parent meeting. Then I was at the gym and
Uh,
we recognized each other.
yeah.
But it's been Kim is what's the word I'm looking for? Kim is the sister that most guys want. She's the road dog that you need to have anytime you go anywhere, because anytime something needs to be said, okay, and even if it doesn't need to be said, Kim's the person that's going to say it. So
No filter.
no filter whatsoever. And you know what though?
Ask
We
for
love her.
forgiveness, not for permission.
I don't even think you've asked for forgiveness, not ever. But I mean, that's
Not
all good.
often.
Yeah, I always know when you're in the gym because I get these random texts. You know, like, "Hey, dumbass, you gonna come by and say what's up?" I'm like, "Oh yeah,
That all you can lift?
yeah." But just, nothing to make me feel insecure at all or,
Nothing.
bad.
No. I am here to build your confidence.
Yeah, you know what, and I think that's why we've been friends, nonstop this entire time. So, well, with
You
that
give it
being
right
said,
back.
but no, I just take it, bury my head, and, go about my day.
Mhm.
I would never say anything disrespectful in a gym full of people screaming your name across the
I was
gym.
gonna say, you have walked into the gym just screaming Kim.
Yeah. I mean, how else am I gonna get your attention?
Right.
And
Maybe a
I want
wave?
everybody to kn yeah, I want everybody else to know that I'm here. Yeah. So, let's talk, a little bit about your personal journey. What got you into fitness?
I actually hadn't worked out since, like, college, and that was
Right.
bare minimum. I was turning 30, had just had my 2nd child, so I was joining the gym. I needed to lose a couple pounds before my 30th birthday party, so I joined, rode the stationary bike, read my magazines, posted all over Facebook about how many miles I had ridden. Needless to say, if I was reading magazines while on the stationary bike, I probably wasn't reading, or I wasn't going real hard.
Yeah. Real fast, getting anything
No,
accomplished.
no. And so I ended up getting a personal trainer randomly because I was kinda talking junk, and he was like,
Right.
"Fine, I'm training you because 'cause you're gonna give me honest feedback." So I started training, didn't really even put much into it other than showing up and doing what I was told, and then all of a
Okay.
sudden I was like, "You know what? I want a job here." So I started part-time as a manager. I had a degree in, business and business management, and so I started managing the gym. After that, people kept asking me why I was pushing other trainers onto them, and I was like, "I'm not a trainer." And they're like, "But
Okay.
I like you. I want your, you're working out, you know what you're doing, just train me." So I was like, "Why am I leaving money on the table?" And I wanted to help these people that were asking me. Everyone wants to feel needed. And so I went and got certified and I started training clients while managing the gym. I worked there for 7 years. That gym was shut down with COVID, like a
Okay.
lot of other businesses.
Right.
And so I transferred over to Crunch, which is where I met you, and just full-time personal training. Didn't really wanna get back into the managing part. I wanted to set my own hours, and I've been there. It's, 5 years this week.
Oh, wow.
Yep,
Okay. So
yep.
so you've been in Crunch for a while, you've been a trainer for a while. How's that how's that work-life balance, because being a mom and you're a coach too, and a personal trainer. How do you balance all of that? Because I know there are a lot of people out there, even when I train, people trying to balance life, their kids, and trying to get physically fit. how did you manage to navigate all of it?
I don't give myself a choice. It is what it is.
Right.
I s while I have flexibility, I actually am totally structured. Um, every day I'm at the gym by 7, 7:15, and I'm there solid until noon. And I fit my
Right.
workouts in between clients. I'm flexible with my workouts at this point. I do cardio when I can. And then I lift. This morning I got in early and did my cardio and lift before my client. And then after that, I go into my next mode. After I leave the gym, it's pick up the house, walk the dog, eat my lunch, take my shower, and I go straight to the schools and I start coaching kids in either track or volleyball.
Okay.
After that,
Now,
I turn into
how long have you
mom.
been a volleyball coach?
5 years.
5 years. Okay.
Yep. In between middle school, I've also done high school. I've done girls, done boys, track. I'll be going into my 5th season with that also. Randomly, they were like, hey, the kids seem to like you. You can corral them. Why don't you come be a track coach? I had never even been to a track meet until I was coaching.
Oh,
Kind of an easy one to pick up, but run faster, stretch,
there
breathe.
you go.
Don't drink too much water, drink some water.
Right.
And then after coaching, that gives me some flexibility because I know what hours I'm working.
Right.
Then I'm dinner, mom, pick up from practice, go to their meets or matches. Then
Yes,
I
because
start all
both
over.
of your kids are in sports.
Yeah.
So even after all of that, you still manage to squeeze in going to your kids' games. So you not much of a personal life.
No, but I'm done by like 8:30, 9 o'clock every night, which
Right.
probably seems pretty late for some people.
Right. Especially when your day starts, probably getting up at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning and not finishing to 7, 8 o'clock at night. So yeah, it's a pretty long day.
It's I love it because it's different. Every day is
Right.
different. I get to see different people. Let's say I have a client that I love, I get to spend a half hour, 30 minutes with them every, time at the gym. Let's say I don't love them and, it's more, hey, I'm with them because it's my client. It's only
Right.
30 minutes or an hour. It's whichever way you think about it.
Right. Yeah, and I know from personal experience, some clients are, they're a joy to have. Then other clients, they're just there because hey, I paid you, so I guess I'm going to show up. And even sometimes those ones don't even show up.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yep. Yep.
So, um, let's talk a little bit more about, I know you just competed. This is your second year, right? Okay,
This
well, this is the second year that you've competed since I've known you.
Yes, correct. I started the journey in 2016. I prepped for my
Okay.
first show. Here's my dog. Um, I prepped for my first show 2016, competed 2017, and I piggybacked that with a secondary show fairly
Okay.
soon after. It was only a couple weeks and took a long break. Was trying to decide if I ever wanted to do it again. And
It's all good.
so went into 2023 prepping and did 2 shows in 2024, prepped
Hmm.
again 2025, and just did my last show a
Mm,
month ago.
yeah. Where'd you place at?
This was not my favorite show.
We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, yeah,
That's all right. That's all right.
yeah, yeah.
But
This one I
yeah, because
didn't
I
come
remember,
in.
hey, listen, I remember seeing you at the gym, I'm like, God, how are you still on the treadmill? It's like, I got to
It
drop this
was
last couple of pounds, or I got to, shed this a little bit of water weight. I'm like, oh my, the dedication was real, you know.
Thanks. I
So
just wasn't
you
what
have,
they were looking for this year, so it's a
yeah, it's
bummer.
all
I
good.
went in with high expectations, high goals, and didn't hit it. So it's been a
Right.
recovery process, we'll say,
Yeah.
mentally, physically. I
Yeah.
drop
I
quite a
mean,
bit of
but
weight when I compete.
right. And that's the thing is that, I mean, it's, it's a lot of work that goes into prepping for these shows, So I imagine that, you know, if other people are gonna do this, they need to understand that it requires dedication. And I've told you a million times, when I watch you, get prepared for these shows and whatnot, hey, you're better than me because I couldn't do it. I don't I can tell everybody right here, right now, I love going to the gym. I love being healthy, but I'm only gonna restrict myself so much.
Something I always think of when I prep is I don't give myself that out. It's
Yeah,
almost like a job. All
right.
right, I have 2 hours of cardio. It's an extra 2 hours of my day that I'm spending at the gym, or I'm gonna head back there late at night and get it in. You still have to practice posing, your meal prep, your grocery shopping, dishes. You may need to run around and pick up more supplements, more protein
Right.
powder or all your vitamins you're taking. Don't forget, you also have to get new clothes because of what you're wearing. I ended up into my daughter's, who was 14 at the time. I was starting to wear her clothes at the end.
Oh my god.
I was in like a double zero. I'm getting down to like 110 pounds. That's like child weight,
Yeah. I mean, hopefully the wind doesn't blow too hard and you fly away somewhere,
right?
but I
It's
mean,
not about a
again,
weight, it's about a leanness, and I'm
yeah,
little
but
shorter
you're
than
already petite.
5'3". Yeah,
Yeah. So, I mean, and again, it's the dedication is amazing. Like I'm dedicated to the gym. I'm dedicated to, staying healthy and that. But again, my dedication has its limits, you know, and it stops at, depriving myself of certain things. Now, I don't knock other people in any way, shape, or form. Hey, you know, I mean, like when I power lifted, I'm 5'4". I was like 210, you know. So I had to wear bigger man's clothes, but none of it fit because it was all too long.
right,
You know?
right.
So I think that's why I really just wore shorts all the time because it was the one thing that I could wear that would always fit. So, but all right, hey, so let's talk about fitness over 40. You know, I'm the ripe old age of 52. You know, what are you finding the hardest for, your clients, that are up in age? What are your recommendations even?
Honestly, part of it is confidence.
Yeah,
A lot of people that are coming to me have dedicated the last 18 years of their lives being a mom
yeah,
or being a dad, being active with the activities or working hard or um, working on their house, just grinding. So then by the time they get to me, they're kind of deflated already. They don't know how to get into the gym. They don't know how to do certain lifts. They don't want to look silly at the gym. I tell every female that gets there, I was like, number one, I was like, you're more concerned about the men in the gym than the men are concerned about you. Get over
yeah.
into the free weight section. They're not going to want to be rude. They're not going to want to get in your way. No one wants to be that guy in the gym. I
Well,
was like,
most of the time,
right, right. But those are
there's
people.
always one or two. There's always one or two.
But I was like, hey, we're going to go over to the dumbbells. We're going to go over to the free benches. And, you have just as much a right to be over there as any of the big guys.
Right.
So I try to teach them how to be confident, even just walking through the gym, and then we're going to work on form. Every lap pull down needs to be done correctly. We're not jerking our arms and pulling and whatever they all
Yes,
want to do. So
that
day
old
one,
ballistic
hey,
movements.
right. We are going to do a couple of these things, and then you will see that I have taught you the correct way. Make them
Right.
have faith in me, that I'm going to do this safely, effectively. Obviously, some people, hey, I have you for a short period of time. I might only have you 6 sessions for the next 2 months. Let's get as much out of this as we can. Other people are lifers. They want to be there. They want the camaraderie. They want the safety, having the spot, the trainer. I have a lot of seniors. They want to make sure that they have somebody to talk to every week.
Right. Yeah, see,
They
now when
also
I love seniors. I love seniors.
Yep.
You know, they do it, they do everything you ask for the most part, but you spend the entire 30 minutes to an hour just catching up while you guys are
Right?
working out. How are you doing? How's the kids? And you know, they're always grateful. They're always very
Oh,
grateful for the
yeah.
help,
They also they never cancel
right?
because 'cause they're looking forward
Yes.
to it. They understand the
You're
importance.
always on time.
They understand the importance of the sessions, why they need it, what I can offer them. They see the value in every single time they walk into that gym. They don't take it for
Right.
granted. So I love that part of it.
So, all right, I'm coming to you today, haven't been to the gym in, I don't know, 5 years. Okay. I'm very unsure of myself now. What would be our short-term goals to get me back on track? I need to lose
Every
50
day is
pounds.
gonna have a mini goal. We're
Okay.
gonna talk about your diet. How much protein are you getting in? Probably not enough. How much water are you drinking? You know?
I probably drink a glass a day.
Right. And then Diet Coke and 3 coffees.
Yes. Yeah, and that's the
We're gonna
I find a lot of people are big time pop drinkers and coffee all the time.
Right. For sure. We're gonna do small little goals. Hey, have 1 cup of coffee, and then let's have 3 cups of water before you come into the gym,
Okay.
at 2. Let's do, um, hey, when you're here, I want you to do 5 to 10 minutes of your warm up. Let's get you doing upper body today. Let's get you doing lower body tomorrow. And, we're going to do all machines. Let's do all free weights the next day.
Okay.
Mix it up for them so they can they want a purpose. They want to be told how to come into the gym, the accountability of it. And then, we're going to go, hey, we're going to weigh today and then let's weigh in a month. Let's see, how much progression we've made. We're going to be building some muscle too. So,
Right. So
if
that's a big thing. You mentioned the weigh-in. Now, I find that people are constantly weighing themselves. What's your what's your advice for that? Because I've been into people have come into the gym, they've been in the gym with you for a month, but they're constantly checking their weight and getting depressed because they're not always seeing the results that they want.
really matters, some people are numbers driven,
Hmm.
some are emotionally driven. And it really kinda depends. If somebody has a wedding coming up, I'm gonna probably put them on the scale every day, because that's gonna
Okay.
hold them accountable. Now, if it is Mrs. Jones next door, she needs to weigh in once a month.
Okay.
She needs or every other week, just to make sure we're kinda if her goals are to get stronger, to get more flexibility, more balance, weight's not what we're worried about. Now, if somebody's way overweight, we're gonna check in probably on Fridays, and reassess their diet if we're doing macros or food plan or just even just the small adjustments, going from regular dressing to low fat dressing, because
Okay.
every person thinks the salad's the healthiest thing out there, and they're like, "I eat salads every day for lunch." Cool.
Yeah.
Where's your protein?
Basically, you're right. Right. You're eating a salad. You're eating iceberg lettuce, which has literally no nutritional value.
With croutons, cheese.
Yeah. Well, I only had a half a cup of ranch today. I'm like,
Right, right.
yeah, that wasn't the answer I was hoping for, but yeah. So keeping people consistent, I know is really important. What other ways of what's your encouragement process? Because some people just it's difficult. They're exercising is a new thing, and they're worried about. I always thought that if you're not coming into the gym for you, then you're in here for the wrong reason. If you're in here for a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a cousin, you want people to stop picking on you, then you're less likely to be successful because you're not here for the right reason. Oh, this should be about making you feel better about you.
Absolutely. How do I motivate? I'm pretty
I mean, you
real.
motivate me to get the hell out of the way a lot of times.
Right?
You're like, hey, when we did that leg workout the one time, we added the butt exercises in there. Man, I was so dead. I listen, I'm not even gonna lie. I'm a big boy.
Bikini girl
Yeah,
workout.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I'm real, like, hey, you could do more than that. Wow,
Right,
hey, that's impressive. Last week you weren't doing that much weight. Hey, I slid an extra 5 on while you weren't looking. It's
right.
not always every single rep. Hey, good job, good job, good job. That's not my personality. I'm here to watch and I will correct you when you're wrong. And I say this
Hmm.
even to my volleyball players. They're like, am I doing it right? I'm going to tell you when you aren't. you're expected to do it correctly. If
Right.
you're not doing it correctly, that's on me, and that's when we're gonna sit and talk. I let all my clients text me at any time. Me being a trainer doesn't end in when we walk out of the gym. Hey, you're
Right.
going out to lunch for work and you have to go to Wendy's, for a lunch meeting. Hey, let's
Mhm.
go over that menu. Let's pick before you even walk in there, what's the best food options for you? Being prepared is such a big part of the fitness industry that people don't talk about. Meal
Right.
prepping, knowing how much water you drink in a day. A lot of people are like, "Oh, I had 2 glasses." Well, no, my goal was 5. Knowing how many calories are going into your body, knowing how many calories roughly you're burning, how much cardio you're planning on doing every day. If you walk into the gym without a plan or a goal, a lot of times you're just wasting that time.
Yeah, this is a day wasted. I know that I want more people to be aware that, you know what? Something is like we talked about it. I drink way more water than I used to. But they don't understand that drinking water, building muscle, helps what? Burn fat.
Yep. Yep.
The more muscle you build, you can be 200 pounds of muscle and 200 pounds of fat. 200 pounds of muscle is still going to be look better.
Oh, yeah. People are always like, "Oh, I lost a pound." And I was like, "Okay, but are we losing muscle or are we losing fat right now?"
Right.
Um, and everyone says something about a pound of feathers is looks way different than a pound of rocks,
Right.
volume wise. So we want to get
Right.
tight muscle volume.
So, okay. So let's get into since you were a volleyball coach. Okay. Now I've coached for a while. I can tell you right now, this generation of kids is much different than what I am used to, even I'll say even 10 years ago. So same generation, just yeah, much different now because everybody expects something. Nobody wants to work. You can't yell at anybody, because kids essentially some of them shut down. We you can't coach the same way you used to. You have to adjust your coaching to individuals. Because some kids Trenton, he thrived off of a little bit of getting yelled at, but then, you know what, pulling them aside and it's like, hey, this is how we need to fix things.
Right.
How is coaching in this day and age for you?
Well, I mean, I've only been coaching for 5 years. So I jumped into this, we'll call it the softer years.
Okay.
But I was an athlete, I'm still athletic. I don't participate in organized sports. Most adults don't anymore. For me, I sit my parents down parent meeting and I'm like, I'm a tough love coach. You're
Okay.
gonna think I'm yelling at them, but I am literally if I didn't believe in them, I wouldn't even talk to them.
Right.
Normally I
I
get
just
upset
yeah.
as a coach because they've done it before and they're not doing it now. Now, if I'm expecting them to jump 6 feet high and they've never done that, that's on me. Why would I yell
Right.
at them for something they've never done? Now, if it's get your serve over and they missed or whatever it is, that's gonna happen. But yeah, I'm gonna be like, hey, we practiced that at practice, or we're gonna do it again tomorrow at practice. It's always when something's out of the norm, that's the frustrating part, but I let my parents know right away, like, "Hey, I love your kids. I'm gonna go to bat for them. 'Em. You'll see mama bear come out," and it's normally when
Right.
somebody messes with them, but, I can bring it back around and be like, "Hey, guys, like, I was harsh on that game last night, but this is why." And each kid needs to be coached differently. Every single
Right.
kid. Every
And that's
human
that's
needs
something
to be
I'm
coached
learning.
differently. I know some I can kinda push buttons a little bit more and irritate them. I asked a girl last week, I said, "Do you think you can be athletic and maybe become competitive in this set?"
Yeah.
Like, knowing that she's a softball player. She's the youngest of 2 other girls, like,
Right.
that's an insult to her. Like, she's an
Right.
athlete. She wants to be competitive, and so I was just trying to see if that would light a fire under her butt. Is that the
Right.
meanest thing ever? No.
No.
I didn't tell her she
But some
wasn't.
people but some people would honestly would say, "Well, that's cruel." No, it's not. We want our kids to succeed, and yeah, we want them to succeed in all things, but we don't want them to shut down at the first, sight of, what, a challenge.
Right.
We want them to rise to the occasion. So if my coach is challenging me for something, I'm not taking it as a direct insult. I'm taking it as a challenge.
Right.
You want to see how great I am?
And there's girls that you can tell have never played a sport before. I have seventh
Right.
graders this year, and I can't push them like I can push others,
Yeah.
and I kind of leave them alone because they'll break down. You also kind of can tell who has siblings,
Right.
who's been maybe pushed around a little bit or insulted, but that doesn't mean that's my job. I go out there and I tell them, I was like, when you're on the court, those are your sisters. Pretend that you need the bathroom and they're in it blow drying their hair. You're gonna
Right.
shove them aside and get in the way. I said, that's the same way with a sport. Get a little selfish and you want your opportunity to shine. Don't always pass it off and, get aggressive. And
Right.
but at the end of the day, you still love each other.
Right. And I will
Uh,
say, listen, for people who are going to watch this, I want people to understand that Kim is a seriously authentic person, and she coaches with, love and sincerity. She's not going to kiss your ass because you guys are friends. Okay. And I will, and you know what? I think you know where I'm going with this. So my daughter tried out for the volleyball team 2 years in a row,
I would
and
bring this up.
yes, of course, but it's the reality, right? Here's the thing: Kim and I are friends. Okay. And, she knew my daughter was on the team, and she treated her just like everybody else, but she didn't make the cut. And that's the bottom line. She didn't do me any favors, because my kid was on the team. She wasn't ready to be on the team. You know, there were girls who deserved it more, and those are the people who got it. And that is what you want in a coach. Bottom line, regardless of whose kids are on the team, hey, we work out together. We're friends. We drink on the weekends and all that. You know, that you're the type of person that people want coaching their kids because you are separating your friendships away from your job as a coach, you know?
There's been
And
also, like, she went and tried a different sport after that, and I went
yeah,
up to her multiple times, and I was like, "How's it going?" And she's like, "I like it." And I was like,
yeah,
"Good." Like, I got cut from volleyball.
yeah,
I didn't make varsity. I was way too short. So, like, I do it with love and, care and try to bring it back to real life, and I was like, "Hey, there's a couple girls from years ago that they were like, 'Should I do golf or should I do volleyball?' And I was like, 'That's a tough one because I played golf all through high school,
right,
different seasons, and now they're, like, winning districts and, winning all sorts of tournaments, and I was like, "Hey, I'm proud of you guys for not doing what was comfortable and going and trying something new because you weren't sure if volleyball was your sport."
right,
Um I have those hard conversations with kids, and there's I have a kid right now who played on my B team, like my lower team last year. She didn't really care, like she was well-rounded and, she could add to my lower players, and so I kept her on B. She also was probably gonna swim in high school and was pretty open about it. I,
yeah,
said, "Why are you choosing swim?" She's like, "Well, that coach would be upset if I didn't." I said, "That is not a reason to play a sport in
right,
high school because in 4 years, you're gonna mean nothing to them." Like, they'll have fond memories of you, but you do it for you, and something in her and I didn't know if she'd make the team or not. I wasn't coaching high school, and I said, "If there's something I believe in it, I believe you can go forward, at least try out." So she made the decision by herself to go on to volleyball. And this is
okay,
going from the lower 8th grade team. She made JV this year because
okay,
she in her mind was like, "Hey, I'm going to go for volleyball and I'm going to put it all in." You know,
right,
Put all my eggs in that basket. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I was really proud of her, to
right.
not know if she was going to make it from not being one of the best to, "Hey, I'm gonna skip freshman year and go right on to JV."
Right. But see, we need more of that. We need more people challenging kids to do things out of the norm because, so I coached, in Canada for a while and I coached my boys all throughout, their childhood. And what I see is a lot of people just being expected to do certain things, just like what their parents did, or, like, well, you've been doing this whole time. Why switch it up? You know, because you don't know if this is the only thing that you're good at.
Right.
What happens if you don't make a team and you didn't try out for anything else?
Well, I
So you're
always
just
tell the
sitting.
story. I may not have made varsity volleyball in high school. There were only a couple spots, or these teams aren't huge, but look, I'm still in volleyball, you know? I'm a
Right.
probably hope at this point, I'm a better coach than player. At
Fair. That's
over
fair.
40, I'm not volleyball is not gonna be my sport when I haven't played in 30 years.
Shit. Yeah, my football days are over. That is,
Right, right.
yeah,
So I still
what as
get to
bad as
see
my days are.
my passion's still there, it's I just kinda put my energy somewhere else in it.
So, anything that you wanna tell everybody
Just
off the
do
top
it.
of your head, doesn't matter what, about whether it be fitness, whether it be about coaching, whether it be about, single moms getting getting fit and healthy. What are things that you wanna share?
I wish moms over 40 put more time and energy into their health. Both my parents were diabetic. My mom passed away from breast cancer 5 years ago. My dad has dealt with diabetes and, being overweight. And, that motivated me. That was like, I'm not going to be like that for my kids. And if going to the gym is one of the easiest, safest ways to, you know, keep my health the way it is, I'm going to do that. I remember years ago, my mom didn't understand it. Women weren't allowed in the gyms except for every other day at Fitness USA, and they didn't know what they were doing. They were just like 70s and 80s. They were doing the weird jazzercise
Oh,
equipment
with the leg warmers?
or the classes. And she was like, "Oh, you spend so much time at the gym. You're taken away from the kids and, making dinner for them." No, that's what the crock pot's for.
Right.
That's what meal prepping, I can make a bunch of chicken earlier in the week or taco meat and hey, we can figure it out. But I wish women spent their time walking, or hey, after dinner, I'm going for a walk. Tell your kids or make your kids go with you or get your heart rate up somehow. Put in a YouTube video or come to my gym and train with me for a half hour. Just get doing something. It's so sad to see these women that are gaining 40 pounds, and blaming menopause. At some point, you have to change things or move more. Everyone has 24 hours in your day. I don't have more hours in my day. I just prioritize my workouts and the grocery shopping. I've never once door dashed anything. Never.
I have a couple times just primarily because I was lazy. That's about it.
I'm not I love french fries and fast food. Yeah, but like, hey, we have food, I can make something at home. And then that's when you can tweak food and make it a little healthier.
Right.
Low fat sour cream versus regular sour cream, a 96.4 ground turkey or ground beef instead of the 80/20. Does
Right.
it taste a little different? Probably, but is it worth it? Yeah.
Yes.
It's the small changes.
Right. Now, I always try to tell people not to diet. I just try to tell people to eat smarter, because when you diet, it sounds so restricting, and the minute you start restricting yourself of too many things where you're dieting so hard that you're not enjoying anything in life, you fall off the wagon. And then what happens? You overeat and all your successes, are now gains that you have to try to figure out how to get back off.
One thing I always tell my clients, and if they're watching this, they'll laugh. I always say, "Don't eat like an idiot," or
Right.
no, "Don't eat like an asshole." Hey, like your kid's birthday, eat a cupcake. Eat the frickin' cupcake. Celebrate. Like if that is what your kid wants for their birthday, they want cupcakes. Eat that cupcake. Life is too
Right.
short to not eat the cupcake. But do you need 3 of them? No.
Hell no.
Eating 3 of them is eating like an asshole. Eating 1 is
Right.
being a good mom.
Right.
Like a fun mom or a normal, it's called
Yeah, it's
life.
just being normal. It's doing things in excess.
Yeah. Yep.
Like
Like
even, I love to sit back on, Sundays, watch football, have a couple beers. Okay. I've dialed it back because, hey, I know it's not good for me. And then I gotta roll into the gym on Monday feeling like crap, because I had too much.
right.
So I try to stretch a beer out for as long as possible, you know,
Water it down.
sometimes. Most times. listen, Sunday's my one day. Sunday's my one day where, I kind of really just chill because I'm watching sports.
Resetting.
Yeah. But then, like, I don't mess with fried food at all. I don't, even at home, I don't fry food in my house. I don't like the smell of it, and it takes days for it to go away. So I don't mess with fried food, and I really don't mess with fast food. You know, now for us, gentlemen, what are your recommendations for us guys? I've seen you with some of your male clients, and some of them look tired. Like she
What do you
is
mean they look
killing me.
tired? After a
Like
session with me or just
after your sessions, some of them look wore out.
that's where I make them be competitive with me.
Right,
I will sit down and show every exercise, and I'm like, "You think you can handle this weight, or do we need to go?" No guy wants to say, "No, I need to go less than what I'm doing." So, no, I pull out the competitive athletic side in the man. Women are like, "No, I can't." They don't care. They, like, think I'm way above them with, like, my fitness and whatever. No, I'm still a normal person. No, I try, and maybe there's a little bit of sprinting once in a while or
right. Yeah, because
hey,
I'm telling you.
one thing too is I find out people's past. I had an old man, Mr. Bob, loved him to pieces. He had dementia, so
Okay,
I didn't know much about him because he couldn't remember, most of his past. And so I kept it, same kind of exercise. I just do different variations or mix them up a little bit because I wanted his form correct and maybe something would
right,
click. And I would have him do wall push-ups. He was 80, hunched over, could barely see, dementia, everything. And I'd have him do wall push-ups. And we're not talking much of an angle at all. And he
right.
would get so excited to do 30 of them or 40 of them or whatever it is. And he was like, I want more. Finally, it came out. He had been in the military. You know,
Shit.
so that's where, like, he loved doing it because it triggered something of his past. Most boys, men, seniors that I talk to, "Hey, did you ever do any sports?" "I played cricket, I played football, I played soccer," whatever it is, I try to incorporate something that
Okay,
triggers when they probably felt they were in the best shape of their life, right? Get them back to their glory days,
right. I like that.
talk about their high school tennis team or whatever it is. And it kind of pushes them a little bit harder because they remember what it was like to be in good shape and be
Okay.
competitive, be athletic. Same with women. Hey, did you ever take a dance class? And kind of find out their coordination with it.
Yeah. Well, and I'll tell you, back to McKinnon, she actually blames you for her loving dance. Kim kicked me off the volleyball team twice. And, I liked swim, but, it wasn't as fun. So I went ahead and tried something else. And I really like dance. So now and she does dance at school, and then she does dance out of school. And she blames you because guess what? You kicked her off for both of your teams and whatnot. And well, you didn't put her on the team, so she had to find
Yeah.
something else to do. So it forced her to step out of her, zone.
I mean, there's people I've cut 3 times. That's my max.
Yeah,
One year I was not her coach. I just had to sit there as like the other person at the table. So it wasn't me cutting her twice. I
yeah.
had to have that
I'm still gonna blame
conversation
you.
once. No, there's some girls don't give up and don't understand
Yeah,
that it's not their sport, and actually, I find that really sad. Like, go find something else, there is something for everybody. If you're 5 foot and you wanna be a middle blocker, it's probably not your sport, Like, if you're a junior in high school and still only underhand serving, it's not your sport, Like, we're not
right,
gonna get you competitive enough by the time you're out of high school. So
right.
I love that she found dance and she can blame me all she wants. She is so
She
respectful
loves
when
it.
she sees me. She yells Coach Kim every time I see her out and about. Um, and that's like one of the best things is when I do see the kids out and they, always yell, "Hey, Coach Kim. Hey, hey." Last night at homecoming, girls from my team 3 years ago wanted to take pictures with me. I'm like, why
Right.
me? Go with your
I mean,
friends.
but the thing is that there's that bond, regardless to how things went, especially for those girls who have moved on and found something else, there's still a bond there that, hey, listen, I remember my drill sergeant who was the biggest asshole. He's my favorite one.
I'm not the
So,
asshole.
um, mm,
We
well,
do a lot
we'll
of
just,
push-ups, a lot of burpees, a lot of wall sits, a
yeah,
lot of
we'll just agree
conditioning.
to disagree, but so I'm gonna give you the last word. Anything that you wanna share, you wanna invite people to come to the gym, anything.
I love to share what I know. I didn't do this because I wanted to. I did this because I was told I'd be good at it. It wasn't that I was like 16 years old going, "Hey, I want to be a personal trainer or a coach." It's what happened in my life. And if I can share it with anyone or help anybody, like I don't I will spend extra time with you if you are devoted or interested. I love the people that don't know what they're doing, especially the females that are nervous about the gym and we make it fun. And, I feel like I'm good at forming those relationships and those friendships and they want to come back. And, 6 years from now, we can still hang out and go get brunch and talk about our lifting days. Some people move
Right.
away. I've been training some people 8 years now. Virtually, they've moved away. I still meet 2 different women twice a week, multiple times, and we do virtual sessions just like this. But, I see them out and about and, life happens, and I get that not everyone's gonna stick with me for 8 years, and that's not always the goal. Sometimes we want to teach everyone our knowledge and have them blossom and move on. I would love for somebody to go do a bodybuilding show, or lose the weight and maintain the weight and just work out on their own,
Okay.
That is just as important to me as holding on to a client for 8 years. It's the friendship, it's the networking, it's the goals and helping people reach their goals, whether it's yelling at them, motivating them, making fun of them, whatever it is, so
Well, this is what I would like to do if you're okay with that. I would like to, include, like, some contact information for you on the Facebook page. So after the show, I'll put it up on the Facebook page. People can reach out to you for questions because you do online training too.
I do.
You do with some virtual clients. I think that's awesome because not everybody can always make it to the gym, and at least having somebody who can work with them virtually would be a good start.
The 2 people I have live in Virginia and Maryland.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's very virtual and they
Yeah.
go to the gym with workouts I've written up or their home workouts and I can still watch their form. We talk diet, I make them do weight check-ins. And I don't want to say that every person that needs a trainer is because they need to lose weight. Some people just need that motivation or they want to have that accountability or the creativity.
Okay.
Don't want to think about what their workout is and just have somebody write it up for them that knows what
Right.
they can do, can't do, what their goals are.
Okay. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Kim Engelhardt, it's a pleasure to have you on. We've got to do this again more often.
Oh, here's Millie.
Hey, Millie. So we will next time though, we're gonna be our authentic selves. We're not gonna be all professional and shit, ladies and gentlemen, because
This was
we're not always
uncomfortable.
these people. We are much more comfortable being childish and being assholes. So thank you so much for being
Don't
on the
eat
show
like
today.
one,
We
don't be
appreciate
one.
Yes. Again, on the Facebook page, guys, I will include Kim's contact information, not her phone number, but her email address and the gym that she works at. So it has been a pleasure. Everybody have a good day.
Bye. Thank you.
See you later. Thank you.